morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a good time. I hope you're getting the chance to meet one another and to make introductions. And this morning, there's no assigned seating. But guess what? In the afternoon, there's assigned seating. So we really want you all to, scramble, get to know new people, and of course, reacquaint with old friends. And with that, I want to welcome you to the American Pancreatic Association AI Bootcamp at, where are we again? At Stanford. And I have the privilege of walking you through the opening remarks just for a few minutes. There's actually like a cane that will take me off within 10 minutes or less. And if there are any questions or comments, please, this would be also the time to make them. The very first is that the bathrooms are to the right. So if anyone needs to run to the bathroom and wondering where it is, it's to my right. And then the women's are on the left, the men's are on the right. And then there's other rooms, lactation and all gender rooms as well. And with that, let me move on the slides. Oh, you know what? This is the wrong slide set. Let me just see here. So actually, I'll while we're waiting for the slide set, my name is Suhail Hussain. I'm one of the course directors for this boot camp, and in the slide set I have pictures of the executive leadership who's been organizing this. But while we're waiting, if Dr. Winkat Ashkinshala can stand up, and this is our co-course director from Hopkins. So we've got East and West represented for diversity. And of course, Dr. Ashok Saluja, and can you please stand up? Our APA executive member of the board and secretary treasurer. And there are a couple of other individuals, Coralia Sianga. Oh yes, right in the back. So Coralia, can you wave? So Coralia is the administrative division director and is really looking after this. And then Nancy Tran. Nancy Tran is over there. And Nancy will be looking after you, so if there are any issues or problems. Nancy has a team, and I think the team is here somewhere, Sam and Ash, and so thank you to them. Let's just start by giving them all a round of applause. And hopefully you'll have a very nice time. If you have any problems, please do find Nancy, Sam, or Ash. And I want to recognize Shweta Lavanya, who's the APA Executive Director. Let me see if okay, we're still waiting for the slides. I can talk without the slides just to sort of keep us moving. Let me see if I can remember back to some of those slides. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, let's see. Yes, here we go. So you heard about the folks who've been behind this. We've been working for about 6 months on this boot camp. And again, we want to make this as meaningful as possible. I'll tell you in more detail. First, our sponsor. A huge thanks to the American Pancreatic Association, which was founded in 1978 with a mission to foster clinical and basic science research needed to cure diseases of the pancreas while training the next generation of researchers. And we have 500 plus attendees at our annual meeting, about 500 members. We span 5 continents, even though we're an American Pancreatic Association. We have international members, and we've been promoting excellence for nearly half a century. Here I serve as the president, and Dr. Ashok Saluja, as mentioned, is secretary-treasurer. Here are some of the other board members who span various parts of the United States. And you'll see Dr. Min Lee, I think, tomorrow, as a testimony to the interest in really supporting this boot camp. I also want to make a pitch. If you like this boot camp, come to the annual meeting, which is in LA at Huntington Beach, and it has a robust program of pancreatology, an intersection of various disciplines and sciences, just like here today. And the very first day of the annual meeting, which we call the pre-meeting, on Wednesday, I believe, is on artificial intelligence in pancreatic diseases. So it'll be much more expansive about AI in pancreatology, imaging pathology, computer vision, other aspects. And I also want to thank the host, which is the Pediatric Gastroenterology Division. And I have the privilege, it was like the perfect marriage. I happened to serve as the president this year as well as the chief of the division, hopefully more than for this year. And the division has been very kind to really provide its support, and all of the members in the administrative team are from the division. It was founded in 1995, and since 2019, since our division has grown, since I had the privilege of arriving here to Stanford, we've grown tremendously to 36 faculty, 15 programs. We've increased in rankings, and the rankings are only in so much as they advance the mission for everyone. And it is to heal children with digestive disease through innovation. This boot camp is aligned with the division's interests, and we call it GI Vision 2030, not to be confused with with Vision 2030 of the Saudis, which is massive buildings. This is a much more humble project, but one that is really meant to allow for promoting AI and digitally driven scholarship. And you can see on the right our robust group. And I would just call out several of our members who are here. Dr. Elka Goyal, can you raise your hand? And stand up, actually, please. Our Associate Chief of Clinical Affairs. So if you have any clinical problems, you can come to her. And she even has Band-Aids, I think, in her purse. And Dr. Andrew Lehman, who's a part of our group, and I think Dr. Roberto, thank you very much, and please stand up. Thank you. Great our medical pancreatologists. We have several members from the Stanford community. I think I just saw Dr. Walter Park somewhere. I asked, can you stand up, Walter? Dr. Walter Park, medical pancreatology at Stanford, and many of the members of the Stanford community. In fact, can you all raise your hand if you're at Stanford currently? So you can see, a pretty good group. And those who have a touch point at Stanford, I see Travis was a fellow. Can you raise your hand? So you see there's many connections. Hopefully we'll make many more today and tomorrow. Stanford, and I will keep this part brief because I think I'm now running out of time, is Stanford was founded on health and children's health. When the founders had a loss, they wanted to help others throughout the world. And what it has become is a robust institution exemplified by the Hoover Tower here. It's 8,000 acres of contiguous space, and that's just one of the campuses. And there are many notable accomplishments here, which we won't have time to go over, but I will just highlight that there's a beautiful tour that hopefully the rain will allow us to have later today. And if anybody's interested, and we put this in the slide set from the email, or in the Google Drive, in the email that you received, I put in the Artificial Intelligence Index report from Stanford's Human-Centered Artificial Intelligence Group. It is something that many people in the AI community look at year for year as such an interesting report. It's long, but you can use your AI tools to distill it. And who are you here? You are pancreatitis experts, you're pancreatic cancer experts, you come from various disciplines in advanced endoscopy, as well as pediatric gastroenterology, pancreatic surgery, diabetes. You are 50 plus registrants across 5 continents and 5 countries and 4 continents. And you're here to responsibly integrate AI into clinical and scientific discovery and innovation in the field. And just as I end, I wanted to say that this program took quite a lot of time to construct. We hope you will find this very useful. We have many teaching assistants, an entire program committee. If you're on the program committee, can you raise your hand? So you can see that there are quite a few members from the program committee. Actually, that was a requirement. If you're on the program committee, you have to be here. But there's so many of you who have contributed to this, and our teaching assistants included. And so I won't tell you more about it. I'm going to now thank you. And I tried to capture every country with thank yous, including, I think, of course, China, Sweden. I think I had Kenya, Asante. And so thank you for being here with us. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to the architects, the chairs, and the teaching assistants, facilitators for Module 1, who are none other than the librarians from the Stanford Lane Medical Library. And I would now pass to Module Chair, Boglarka Huddleton, who's the head librarian. So let's give her a round of applause.
So Hungarian is not up there. I noticed that, even though I'm not a conference registrant, but I will sharpie it in. All right. While we get hooked up, can you hear me? Is it good? Okay, I'm going to need a little more enthusiasm because it's always quiet in the library, so this is my loud spot. Can you please log in for me? Thank you.
Well, you know.
The anticipation is building, hopefully.
Just when you think you're safe, then they want a password.
While we are doing this, or Wit is doing this, my name is Boglarka Huddleston, and I manage the research and instruction group at Lane Medical Library. And some of the tools that we are going to show you are specific to Stanford, especially in the very beginning, but you should have 2 handouts on every table. One of them has a QR code in it, and the other one is the activity handout. With the QR code or with the bit.ly link on it, you can get to the folder, the Module 1 folder that has all the resources in them. I think most of the tools that we're showing you, probably all of them will have.
They're working on it.
Okay. It does have a free version, and we are going to demonstrate and play around with the free version. This is the bane of my existence. The last 2 years, every time I'm giving a presentation, the PowerPoint is not working. So this is pretty normal for me, so now I have to ad-lib, which is not my strong point. So you have access to the Module 1 folder through the QR code and the bit.ly. So at one point, please open it and take a look in the folder. That's where you can find all the links to the resources we are going to play around with, as well as the handout that has the activities and descriptions of the activities, and the slide deck is also in there. So now you know who I am. I will let my 2 co-workers introduce themselves. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, everybody. My name is Chris Stave. I'm one of the research and instruction librarians at Lane Medical Library. And my role there is to liaise with the graduate medical education department, which means I do a lot of classes with the residents and the clinical fellows. I also liaise with emergency medicine, pediatrics, and general surgery. And I do lots and lots of workshops like this. So nice to meet you all. Nice to meet you all.
And let Whit introduce himself real quick while the PowerPoint is getting figured out.
So I'm Evans Whitaker. I've got a lapel mic, yeah. I'm Evans Whitaker. I'm one of the librarians at Lane. I work in the research instruction team, which you'll mention in a minute if we get slides. And my only claim to fame really is that I did family practice for about 25 years, burned out, went to library school, and I've been a medical librarian since. So 18 years now as a medical librarian. So that's my story.
That may be in your future too. If you're thinking, what are you going to do after you retire? Some of you are very young, some of you are less young. I'm not looking at anybody. You can always do medical librarianship afterwards, because us librarians really appreciate Whit's input as an actual practitioner. He has a lot of good medical insight to most of the things that we do.
Oh my goodness.
And
What in the world?
we are getting this fixed. Unfortunately, I do need the computer to work to move on. Who has come from furthest away?
It's a demo that you need to.
I know we have 4 different continents
but we could start in the
represented.
back.
Who is from further away? Furthest away.
And then
Yes? What part?
Yeah, I'm from Kenya.
Okay.
East African country.
Yes.
Mind if I take it in the back?
no, go ahead. At least get us through the first bit.
All right.
Yeah.
So we have somebody from Kenya. Anybody further than that? In any other directions?
If it's not connecting, we actually have the slides on the Google Drive. Can we use that?
Yes. We can. Oh, yes. We'll try one more time. So we had a 5-minute break built in twice into the next 3 hours. We are taking that 10 minutes right now, and it's over. Oh, okay, so this is all new.
Max, I guess.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right.
Are you okay with this, or do you want
I'm okay with, yes, I'm
Yeah,
okay
no,
with
let's do it.
perfect? Let's go with slideshow.
that. Okay.
You're on.
I'm going to have to grab my glasses. I apologize, because that one is small. Oh, this one's big. Thank you. Whew. All right, so let's hope that was the worst part of the day. I'm going to get through the first few slides. Okay, so this is the research and instruction team here at Lane Medical Library, at Stanford Lane Medical Library. We do have other team members. Altogether, it is the 7 of us. And if you work here at Stanford, if you're a Stanford affiliate, if you ever need any kind of help with research, evidence synthesis, literature reviews, systematic scoping reviews, or if you would like us to come to your classroom and teach, that is what we do. So we're happy to do that. Please reach out to any one of us. You can reach out to me. If you don't like me for whatever reason, reach out to the other ones. They are just as capable, less funny, but just as capable. And obviously, if you are not from Stanford, if you are a university or a higher educational place, you do have a library, and you have librarians who do the same or very similar to what we do. So today's goal is to equip each of you with practical skills in searching, analyzing, and synthesizing biomedical literature. And towards the end, we are going to talk a little bit about responsible and ethical AI use. It got very bright in here.
Yes, it is.
And now I'm awake. Basically, the presentation, our portion, module 1 of the presentation is breaking down into 3 hours. The first hour, we already got through introductions and objectives. We are going to do a quick poll just to make it more interactive. Then I will very quickly talk about Zotero and LibKey, and then we'll move on to, which are not necessarily AI tools, but they should be part of your digital backpack if you are doing research and if you're looking at literature. Probably most of you may have heard about Zotero. Probably less of you have heard of LibKey, which may be more important to learn about. Then we'll start talking about prompts, Gen AI. We have a lot of activities built in where we'll become familiar with some of the frameworks to prompt engineer. And in the second hour, we are going to look at open evidence, elicit, and consensus. And again, you have free, you have to set up free accounts with all of these tools. Some of you may already have. Some of you can set up while I'm talking or even in the breaks. It shouldn't take too long. But they all have free versions if you don't have access to the paid versions. And then the last hour, it's kind of flexible. We'll see how we're doing with time. We definitely want to talk a little bit about responsible AI usage and publishing in the presence of AI. And the very last 5 to 7 minutes, there's a kind of new tool that is new to us. We recently discovered it. It's called BIOS AI, which creates a research plan, and it's kind of nifty. It's very pretty too, so I just kind of like to look at it because it's a big amoeba moving on the screen. All right, Paul, I will turn it over to Whit.
How are we doing this?
Oh.
Hands.
So, how are we doing this? So we were logged into. Paul, can you log in to Paul Everywhere on this computer? Would it work?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, but I did the classic thing of saving the password on my computer.
Oh.
So let's see what we can do.
So there is a few question poll. If we cannot pull it up on this computer, then I will just read you the questions and we'll do a raise of hands or hand.
Wow. Hard to see.
I'm hoping we're going to get all the technical difficulties out of the way in the first 45 minutes, and then.
Well, it's nice that we're trailblazers for you.
Yes, we can. Oh. Are you though? Are you?
It's been debated.
All right. Whoa, this is on you. Okay, so let's do this. Can you please pull up the poll on your computer and
Yes,
I'll just
I
go
can.
over it with words. I'm just going to use words. You're not going to have the picture going with it.
Your computer, I left it up there. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even see you do that. Okay. Where is it? It's up here.
Is it yours?
No, it's okay. You wouldn't. There's no reason you would know that. Okay.
I like how whenever I make eye contact with one of you and everyone, you smile at me like, it's okay. You're doing great.
We accept donations of anxiolytics.
Right? Okay. And we only have a few questions. If you can just pull up the website, the Paul Everywhere website with the questions. And we're just going to do show of hands if we get there.
Let's do this. What did you say?
Do the pauleverywhere.com/activities.
Yes, it's going into response history. Do you want to move to another slide? Well, let's do that.
No. Hold on. Can you skip that?
Sorry. What did I do?
Go to home.
So at least we can see the questions. We should be able to see the questions.
All right, I'm just going to improvise. I kind of remember the questions because we looked at them a million times. One of the questions was, where do you consider whenever it comes to literature, searching, analyzing, evidence synthesis in that realm, do you consider yourself a beginner, intermediate, or professional, advanced? Beginners, raise your hand. Beginners, all right. Intermediate. Okay, professionals.
Or advanced.
All right,
Okay.
advanced. So you're going to be my teaching assistant because you
Yes,
see
no,
how great I'm
it's your
doing.
session now.
There was also a question about if you are using any kind of reference management tools, such as Zotero, EndNote, Mendeley, anything else I'm not mentioning. Zotero people, hands. All right, EndNote. All right, it's normally a half and half split, and anything else, and you can just shout out the name of it.
Mendeley?
Mendeley,
Okay.
few Mendeley. Anything else you're using?
They used to be ProSite.
I'm sorry?
They used to be ProSite.
ProCite, all right. Or you have teaching assistants who do the citations for you, which is also awesome. What other questions did we have? Yes, are you familiar with Elicit? Those of you who are using and familiar with Elicit, hands up. Okay, that's good. So that's coming in.
Are you using it or are you familiar with it? Or just know about it?
Using it, okay.
Using
Very
it,
good.
okay,
So
good.
that's coming up in hour 2, consensus.
Anybody? Okay.
You should be as part of the presentation.
And how many of you
And
use open evidence?
open evidence.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I just
Very
saw
good.
something yesterday which said 40% of U.S. physicians are now actively using open evidence. So it's really caught on fast.
Okay. So that was poll everywhere, or poll in this room that I improvised.
That's right.
Let's go back to the
Yeah, pull everywhere
presentation.
but this room.
Doing great, Bogey, doing great. All right. So quickly, because we're already running a little bit late, so the two tools I mentioned you earlier, and I kind of asked you if you're familiar with it. One of them is called LibKey Nomad, and the other one is Zotero. Now, LibKey Nomad, if you are a Stanford affiliate, you have access to this. You do have to set it up, but you have access to it because the library subscribes to this product and we administer it. If you are from another institution, you need to talk to your library to put it in place. Basically, LibKey Nomad it's a free, and I'll show it to you. If you Google it, it is a free browser extension, and it helps you get to full text faster. It takes less than 10 seconds to download it onto your own computer. It will present itself as that little green teardrop. It will start appearing next to article titles in Google Scholar, in any of the databases, or just on the free web. If the library subscribes to certain things and the journals and you have access to full text, that's a one-click access. So you don't have to go through, click once to get to the journal, click another PDF button, and click 9 million times to get through a paywall. None of that happens. You click on the little teardrop, and it's labeled as LibKey or full text access, depending on how it's set up, and it will take you there immediately. Okay, so it's PDF. The
PubMed search results showing LibKey. There's a tab there for it.
Okay, let me.
One in the middle. Stat.
Yes. So let's say we are in PubMed. This is how it appears in PubMed. You see this little button there that says download PDF next to the green drop down, teardrop. That's how it appears in PubMed. But again, this is a free extension. Now, it has to be set up by your institution, which is why I said if you work here at Stanford, you already have access to it. You just need to download the extension, and it's just running in the background, and it's giving you almost immediate access to everything you have access to because the university subscribes to the journals and the websites that contain these things. The other one is Zotero. About half of you were familiar with Zotero. Zotero is is it org or com? .com? .org?
.com, yeah.
.com?
I think so. It's all bookmarked. Who knows?
It's
Or
Not it, it's .org. So Zotero is a free reference management tool. If you are familiar with EndNote, it's similar to it, except EndNote is not free. Zotero is free. Now, Zotero, the free version of Zotero does come with limitations of storage, but the built-in storage in the free version is pretty large. It takes a while for you to get there. And basically, the storage is used for all the PDF that you can upload in there, store with your citations. You can create folders for your different projects. You can share them with team members if you are in a team environment. So we do support Zotero here at Stanford because it's free and because everybody has access to it. And it also has the cite while you write feature. So if you are using Word or Google Docs, you have an extra tab on the top once you go through the downloading procedure. And then you can insert your citations as you write. It will connect to Zotero in the background, and you can insert your citations. I'm not going to demo it because that would take up a lot of time. Just know that it is free. Download it. If you need help with it, either contact one of us or contact the librarian at your institution. All right. Some of this. Okay. And I think at this point, I will turn it over to Whit. He is going to talk to you about prompts, and then we're going to start doing activities so you don't have to listen to us stand here and talk at you for the next 3 hours. Yay!
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry about the exciting beginning there. That is not how we scripted this, but that is the way it played out. So I'm going to spend a few minutes on prompts. I'm sure you are all familiar with the idea that when you're interacting with a large language model, you need to give it some information to work with, and that is labeled a prompt. And prompts can take many, many formats. It can be words. You can upload documents. You can give it a word, you can give it a whole paragraph, you can put your manuscript in and let the LLM interact with it in some way. The one thing I will say, and you'll see this kind of come through in the next minute or two, the more specific the prompt, the better. You can really tell the LLM exactly what you want, and that's the best way to do it. And then it should respond appropriately. You should reduce hallucinations and have a number of good outcomes in terms of having relevant material that you can more or less trust, as much as you can ever trust AI, which will be another recurring theme. I think that the library folk will say, and I'm sure you're aware of it already, is you need to keep the human in the loop. We need to really be careful that the material that we're using, especially if it's patient care or something that really matters, that the material makes sense to you and is believable. So we're missing a slide. Oh, okay. Actually, we're going to go on to an exercise right now. We rearranged this last night or yesterday. What we'd like you to do at your tables is to use a free version of either of one or more of these items: ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot. If you have a paid version, feel free to use it. The link goes to you should be able to get to this question bank, which is just some questions, some pancreatology questions that we came up with using consensus, actually. Or you can use your own question. And then what we'd like you to do is to explore the question, maybe try more than one of these programs, and then kind of talk among yourselves about what are you seeing, what do you like, what's different, what seems good. Freestyle the prompt, do it any way you want, and then we're going to add a little bit more information, and then we're going to do a second one where we'll compare outcomes if you structure your prompt in a slightly different way. Okay, questions?
If you look at your handout, which you have electronic access in the folder, in the Module 1 folder, or there are 2 copies on each table.
And the QR code goes with the folder.
The QR code takes you to the folder. You can see hands-on activity number 1 and 1A is what we are doing. And this should be a work together with people who are sitting around you, discuss what you're seeing, what you're finding. Maybe 2 of you wants to work with Claude, and the other 2 of you wants to work with Gemini. Just kind of experiment around with it freely for right now. And then we'll give this 10 minutes max, seeing on how you're doing, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about your findings. Okay? The question bank is also in the folder. The bit.ly takes you to the folder that's above the QR code. And if you have any questions, please raise your hands. Talk to your neighbors.
Right. And we'll wander around and bother you.
Yes, we'll wander around. I'll set an alarm for 10 minutes. If we don't need 10 minutes, then we'll move on faster than that. The what? It's in there. Yeah. It's in there. It's in there. It's in the instruction folder. But like, I don't know if they can hear it, like minimally, not like it's a minimally, not as much as, not in as much detail as it was original. Ooh.
You did great. You know, first time always takes a little bit of smoothing out.
I wasn't even kidding. The last two presentations I gave, I didn't have PowerPoint go with it because the system crashed before I stepped onto the podium. And it's like, this is the bane of my existence. Yes, and I have it. Just like, panic. Oh.
Like a 10-minute break after they get to
Yes, that's why I was like, I need to stop talking and turn it over.
Nice job.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so what do we need to?
I'm going to try this again.
Oh, you're gonna unplug it? You're brave. Okay.
Well, stupid could be closer, but I'm going for it
I'm
anyway.
going with brave.
Another shot.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I mean, I've done this a million times with this computer where you just plug it in and it goes. I don't understand why this room would be any different.
I'm sorry? Oh my goodness. It's like,
Well, it does, but
no, it's fine. It's like, seriously, the last two times I did a presentation, the same thing happened. Just wouldn't, like, okay, yes.
yeah. Yeah.
So what is not working? Because Chris is working, so.
It's a Mac, and I don't know if, I mean, I told you.
I mean, it should be that. That should be it, right?
Right, well, there's four demo ports.
And none of them works.
I'm just trying all four.
Okay. Is there, what do we need to,
Well, we need to put your computer back on, or Chris's computer.
do you need to log in on anything, into anything on Chris's computer? Like anything pulled up? Like any of the Claudes or Geminis or anything pulled up that you would need?
Trying to think of what that is.
You wanna pull it up on Chris's just so we have it?
Yeah, sorry. No worries. Could you open a tab on your browser for OpenAI? Sure. I mean,
Open. No, I was like, and I have.
Many of the recruiters were shopping, and they're trying to interact with one another, but there's
Pushing jam for the top.
one comment you can make on the next exercises. They want you to work with an improvement from break the ice.
they work toward a representation of the data kernels.
Like 10 references.
Yeah, collide to reference keys, something like that. And then,
So which one is it? I want to know.
From the slide deck, if you could pull the clinical trial chart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a link there. It's going to be an open evidence. That's the guy. Okay, good. Good, thank you.
We are about. Hello.
It's open evidence, and then here's the tab for the study.
Okay, good, perfect. Yeah, okay.
We have about 4 minutes. I don't know which one is working and which one is like I don't think my. Can you? Because I heard myself better earlier. Why is it on? That may be for the PowerPoint. No, that's a pointer. We have about 3 minutes left.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Everything's great. The one comment from the AV group is if you can, when you're talking, speak louder.
Okay.
They've raised the volume to the highest, but I think it's not.
Because right now, I don't think it's actually doing anything. Okay, I will speak
Okay,
up.
so with,
Yes.
just a reminder, open evidence
Yeah.
article.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
We're doing, and we're actually on time.
yeah.
Like even with all the delay, we're on time, so we're doing good. Hi.
We're going to fix this.
Okay.
You go back. I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you control.
I will speak up. I was told to speak up.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this real quick. Now, this is now unlocked. So you can turn it on and off when you're ready. I'm going to do the same with you, sir.
Good, because I keep talking.
Yeah, because I don't want to get your side combos and stuff like
No,
that. We're
I'm-
trying not to, and then that way when you're ready, click, give it 1 full second, and then speak. You'll be ready to go. You do yours as well. And we'll get this all, and then give me a chance to get in the back, and then I'll go ahead and bring the volumes up, and then you guys will be in control.
Do you want to lead you're leading the conversation about
I thought I can certainly start and see.
And they
And
also
were
have
you
to do
thinking
a
of just?
They have to do a PubMed string, like create a PubMed string, so we can talk about PubMed.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that? Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's up to you, because
No,
I
no.
know PubMed is your puppy, so I don't.
Yeah. No, it's not my puppy. It's
How about up to date? Is up to date your puppy?
no.
Up to date is a rabid dog.
Up to date is a cur that needs to be put into the pound.
About 1 minute left. And are you going to want to demonstrate anything in MicroCloud and any of them?
I wasn't going to.
Okay. fine.
Yeah.
So it's conversation, or just
I think so, because I think these guys have probably played with all of these at some level. I can't imagine this group that they would have attended if they've never tried any of this. You do.
Oh, I will.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what we're going to do. There's no escape. Yeah.
All right. The 10 minutes has flown by much faster than when I was fumbling up there for 30. So let's go ahead and take a look at what you found and what you think of what you found. If we don't have volunteers, I will call table numbers. So volunteers, hands up. Who would like to speak first? Yes, from table 2. We have a mic for you, just so it's easier. I'll let you.
So we looked at screening for pancreatic cancer and the recommendations regarding the imaging and surveillance. And we used 3 models, Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT.
Okay.
And a little louder. So we used the 3 models, and comparing those 3 options, I think Claude is more cleaner from my perspective. It gives us the detailed information on who are the high-risk candidates for developing pancreatic cancer, and it also gives us what is the lifetime risk, what is the age of screening that you want to start at, and what are the imaging modalities, and which one is better. And also the biomarkers, what are established versus what is emerging.
I have a quick question. Did you just copy and paste the question, or did you actually make the topic, or did you make it into what did you enter into?
I copied and pasted the question.
Okay, all right. So you did not manipulate
No,
it
I
at
did
all.
not manipulate it because I wanted to use the same thing through all the models
Yes.
for a comparison.
Thank you.
Google Gemini is also pretty much kind of similar. The difference that I noticed is in Gemini, it gives you the links. For example, ASGE, or if a pancreatic cystic lesion, so I can verify that it is accurate or is it something hallucinating. ChatGPT also kind of somewhere similar, but overall the interface and looking at the output, I feel I like the Claude because I can basically use this information and put it in my slides without making any additional changes.
Okay.
Was your impression that, when you looked at the information, did you say, yes, this sounds right?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Okay, good.
Yes.
Good. Because I think when a subject expert looks at the topic and they kind of go, ooh, I think that's good, then I think the AI is really serving its purpose, which is to show you the information, kind of you can confirm the information, but also it'll serve as kind of a brainstorming thing where you say, oh, hadn't thought about that. That's an interesting point, and you may know it, but you hadn't really put it all together yet. So anyway, that's what I think I love about AI is the fact that for us, librarian types anyway, it will lay out, it will give us ideas that we didn't have initially.
And also, I forgot to ask you, can you please introduce yourself, just so we know who you are
I'm
and where you're from?
Venkata Sunkesala. I'm a third-year fellow at Case Western Metro Health.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else from any other? I will start calling numbers, table numbers.
Yeah, there's no escape. So
Put you on the spot.
you can get it over with now or
And
later.
I know all my numbers from 1 to 8, so you will not escape. Now, starting with 9, you would be safe, but anybody? All right, 7 then. Table 7, sorry.
And wait, before you go, we
Yes.
agreed, the 3 of us agreed beforehand, there's no saying what they said.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Ooh, I put you on the spot. And please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from. So.
Yeah, my name is Khalid Hussein. I live in the DC area. Okay, so we compared ChatGPT and Claude, and we did some sort of a little bit of early prompting, first just getting both the LLMs geared into understanding exactly what they're doing. So we start off essentially by telling the LLM what it is, right? So what we said is you are a JHU Harvard level researcher, proficient and an expert in the field of GI and endoscopy. So this just gets it started and sort of gets it in the right frame of mind, frame of reference. From there, then we tell it what that is. So like you ask clarifications if you don't know, and we don't want any hallucinations. So we sort of put all of this in the first chat to ensure that any output that comes next is not just some standard output, but is very specialized for what we want. Then after that, we gave it the topic. And so from there, it was able to pull out a search string. What I noticed, and I think this is similar to what you noticed as well, is that with ChatGPT, you get a lot more fluff. And it still gives you the search strings, and the search strings were almost exactly the same between both. But there's sort of a lot more that you have to parse through, just language, versus with Claude, it's significantly more concise, to the point, succinct. And so I think for the research setting, that is something that is more desirable. Yeah. I love Claude, you know. So we do Claude Code Module 2. We're going to be doing that. So one of the TAs. So, you know, I'm also biased in that way. But yeah.
All right, thank you.
Well, that's great. And some of the things you're saying are going to get to what we're going to talk about next, actually. So
Lovely.
That's great.
Anybody who is anti-Claude?
How could you be anti-Claude?
How could you be anti-Claude? Heathen. All right, let's hear from one. I'm sorry?
I said we just met, so I can't make a decision.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
So
yes.
first date,
All right.
yeah.
All right, one more table. Maybe table 5, since you already spoke up, sorry. This is what happens when you speak
Well,
up.
I'm gonna be honest, it took me quite a bit of the time to even just like get it open and figure out what I'm supposed to
Yes.
answer anything.
Sure.
We're recording. She needs to be on the microphone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jamie Salomon from University of Pittsburgh, and I am had never even opened any of these before, so it took me a little while just to figure out where to go or what to enter, and it was asking like questions, and I found that I must have done some setting differently because multiple people at our table did Claude, and we copied and pasted the actual question from the document, and the output was different, and so I was surprised, like thinking that it was going to be the same. But I think we also did the ChatGTP and just got text, whereas with the Claude, we got like a figure and a flow chart, which was like easier and more understandable.
Nope. All right, thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks.
All right. All right, did any one of you run the PubMed search? Because part of the activity, you may not have gotten to this point, but you were supposed to be asking the GPT to create a PubMed search for the topic. Did anyone get to that point? I see head nodding on table 8. What did you find? What happened there? Can you please introduce yourself? Sorry, and where you're from?
I'm from Stanford. I just pasted the Claude prompt into the PubMed. It actually gave me pretty decent search results. The prompt I copied from Gemini did not work. I'm trying to figure out what's the glitch there, but it seems like still Claude is probably the best, from my opinion.
All right. So we're going to get, next year this time, we're getting Claude to sponsor us. So I don't, as a librarian, I could talk about PubMed all day long, but that's not why we are here. However, what I would like to point out is you can get any of the Gen AI tools, just, prompt it to give me a PubMed search on whatever topic it is. It will give you a PubMed search. It will probably give you mesh terms, which are subject headings and keywords. It will get it close, which is fine if you just need a handful of articles, if you're doing something relatively low-key. If you are working on evidence synthesis, systematic reviews, scoping reviews, and in-depth literature review, that search string is not going to cut it. Please contact your librarian. This is job security for me and us, which is why I'm talking about it, but for evidence synthesis work, currently, we're not aware of any of the AI tools doing a good job or an excellent job of setting these search strings up. So talk to the librarian. This is what we do. This is what we're good at. So everyday searches, it's fine. Whatever the Gen AI give you, more in-depth projects, talk to one of us or talk to your librarian at your institution. Okay? All right. I'll turn it back to.
And actually, you can also ask AIs to create search strings specialized for other databases. So if you're at an academic center and you have Embase or something like that, you could ask it for an Embase search, and it would it would try to create one, and with the same caveats that if it matters, have somebody take a look at it, just to be sure that it's not out there or using kind of hallucinated terms, which does happen occasionally. Okay, great. Thank you for doing that. All right. Next step on our travels is prompt frameworks. And so these are ways that you can organize the information in your prompt. Just to say it, there are a whole bunch of these that are kind of identified for biomedicine as good frameworks. And so some people actually use a SOAP format, like you're writing a progress note. Some people use a PICO format, like you're doing a PICO for evidence-based medicine. I wanted to show you this CoStar one, just because it gets at a lot of the different things you might consider putting in a prompt. You don't ever have to put all of it in. And so as you can see, the CoStar is context, objective, et cetera. This is kind of getting at the idea that was mentioned earlier in discussion, which is that you really can tell the AI a lot of things to get what you want out of the deal. So in this case, context, actually, why don't we just go on and I'll show you. This is just one example. So in context, we included a lot of information about a particular patient who went to the emergency room with abdominal pain, had some evaluation, they diagnosed her with acute pancreatitis. And then our question was, well, she's got a fever, she looks really sick, her stomach hurts. Her stomach hurts a lot. And should she be getting prophylactic antibiotics? And it was our basic question. We told the LLM that we wanted to see the clinical reasoning. So you can say things like, walk me through step by step how you came to your conclusions, which will require it to show you its thought process. And then if it matters, style and tone typically are not quite as important because you kind of give it away by saying, well, it's in this case, for a medical student level. So you're going to be you're going to be talking to medical students and you want something they can understand. It's good to specify your audience. So in this case, medical students, but if it was a group of pancreatologists, you'd get a different answer. And so and then you can also specify response where you can say, okay, we just want 250 words on this, no more, and give me 10 relevant articles or whatever. And in our experience, this really improves the results of your interaction with the AI, and probably it does a lot to help reduce hallucination, and probably give you results that you can really digest fairly quickly. And like somebody was talking about with ChatGPT, sometimes it gets pretty wordy and it's telling you what a great question you've asked. It's like, what? Come on, leave me alone. I don't need to be patted on the back for asking you a question. Okay, and my plan here was to show you this search. So I just basically copied all of that stuff in the CoStar format, edited it just a little bit because I took out the things where I said you didn't have to put anything, ran it in one of the the 6, I guess, that we listed for you that you could use as a general LLM, and then they all came to the same conclusion that no, you don't use it prophylactic antibiotics, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess really the take-home point here is think about a model like this to help you make sure you ask a very precise question of the LLMs, and you'll be happier with the results. And then to go one step further, if you want to even add a little bit more specificity to your question, if you read this literature, you'll start to see the words shots and cots used quite a bit. So basically, a shot is an example that you provide of some sort, and that can be anything from a short piece of text to say about the kind of patient that you're interested in. So the article must address this kind of patient, or you can provide a PDF of articles you like or ones you don't like and tell the LLM about that. And then what this essentially forces the LLM to do is to use that additional new information on top of its training corpora to generate an answer. And once again, this probably reduces hallucinations, increases accuracy or specificity. And then COTS is, and once again, this was mentioned in the discussion as well, where COTS is chain of thought. So basically, you put a sentence somewhere in the prompt that says, show me your work, show me what you did. And then one of the things you see all the time is, let's think this through step by step, or reason through this clinically, or diagnostically, or therapeutically. So adding that will force it to show you its work, which means that you should be able to look at what the output and say, oh, that looks reasonable. I would buy that, as opposed to having a bottom line answer where you kind of go, well, how did you get to that result? Anyway, these are refinements that you can take to your, so between CoStar and these ideas, these are things that you can use to improve the output of your interaction with the LLM. Okay, so really, next step here would be to do exactly what you did before, but this time try to modify the prompt. And if you don't have these elements in here, think about whether you can add shots or COT to your prompt, and see if you can perceive differences in the outcomes. And so 10 minutes?
7. Let's do 7.
7 minutes. And so spend a few minutes on it. Holler at us if you have questions. Probably you don't have time to provide PDFs to increase the results, so you may not really be able to do shots right now. But if you're really quick, you probably could still do it. Okay, questions?
And to remember CoStar and shots and COT,
Whatever.
We are on your handout, bottom of first page, going into second page, 1B. Talk to each other, collaborate, make noise. You're not in the library.
That's right. It's like
this
recess
is where
now.
you can make noise. Yeah. About 3 minutes left.
I'm still recovering.
It's over. The worst is over now.
What are you saying?
That the worst is over now. That it's all smooth sailing from here.
You're not an optimist, are you?
You may want to log into consensus, not consensus.
Open evidence. It's in. It's in. Yeah. Yeah. We got stuff set for that section. You live in it? And use this. It's off.
What happened with your Mac? Do you know what happened with your Mac?
No idea. I've never seen it. I've never seen this before. And so it just doesn't make one bit of sense.
It's ironic considering this is like state of the art.
Yeah. Right. You know, as I said, I've gone into plenty of buildings, even this one. You know, with my time's up here, I've gone in and plugged it in other presenting halls and no problems. It's really bizarre, actually. And I didn't test it, which is my fault. But they were testing back there, which I didn't quite understand.
All right, 1 minute to kind of put it all together.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna sit over here maybe. Oh, okay.
How much more time?
All right, time is up. I received a question which I'm going to throw out to all of you, see if anybody has an answer since I didn't have the perfect one. Like in most of the Gen AI tools, how do you type paragraphs? You know, you keep on typing, but then when you hit enter, it will actually send your question, and then it does. Does anyone know the answer to how to type distinct paragraphs without sending the question halfway through?
Is it Option key?
Shift enter. So apparently the answer is Shift enter. I just learned something. Thank you. Shift enter. Oh, 10 years into this. All right. So let's go ahead and I'll turn it over to Whit so you can report back.
Okay, so same thing. We would like to have a volunteer group to start this discussion and maybe at least 2 or 3 other tables to comment if possible. And so looking for volunteers, and we'll bring the mic to you. Are you ready? Okay, thank you. You are brave and strong. That's very good.
Okay, so this is a real-time clinical question that I had.
Let's come back together so we can hear reporting back. Thank you.
So this is a clinical question that I had and a clinical encounter that I recently experienced. So what I typed in this, I use these 3 models on a regular basis, but I reminded all the 3 models that I'm a 3rd-year fellow and all that stuff. I'm interested in pancreas. And my question, I gave a context here. I told I have an 82-year-old female, incidental pancreatic cyst, and no family history, no symptoms. So what is the surveillance and what is the recommendation based on the updated guidelines? So that was a question that I gave to all the 3 models. And my Claude is still working on it. It's still working on it, to be honest. And Gemini is very fast, and I'm very satisfied with the response that it gave. So first it gave me the risk stratification, the worrisome features that we always use. And second, it gave me the guidelines and what are the different guidelines from different organizations, ACG, AGA, and Kyoto guidelines. And thirdly, it applied that guidelines to my specific question. So it said, in your question, given your patient is 80-year-old, this is what the recommendation is. Mm-hmm. And finally, it also gave me an option to use this note in my, in my Epic or whatnot. So it's really good. But Claude just gave me all the information. It's more detailed, but for whatever I wanted to learn in regards to surveillance, I feel Gemini is better for this option.
Oh, interesting. Good. Thank you. Any other experiences to share? Maybe just one more table. What table haven't we picked on?
All the numbers. Oh, there's a volunteer.
Oh, there's one.
There, yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. This is Saeed Soleimanjai. I'm a GI fellow at Mass General Brigham in Boston. Very pleased to be here. So I'm basically working on a project trying to develop AI models to risk stratify patients with pancreatic lesions. So I'm a physician scientist working on a research project to develop AI model to better risk stratify patients with pancreatic IPMNs. For next steps in management, such as interval surveillance, surgery, or stopping surveillance, I need to have a good summary of literature highlighting major papers in the field that have investigated AI-enabled approaches for risk stratifying patients with IPMN. The output could be a table summarizing patient population, sample size, AI approach, outcome, and conclusion. This needs to be very accurate because I'm sending this to NIH, and it's still working on it.
And how did that go? What did you?
My computer is heating up,
thinking?
and there's a lot of noise. So I think it's going to be a good outcome, but I will share what I find.
I mean, that incorporated a lot of the elements that would force it to give you specific answers to your question, which is great.
Exactly. I think this is very good to have a very engineered prompt to just save time and get the right outcome.
Anyone else?
Last chance to speak up. I know it's not the last chance because we have plenty of these coming.
You've got other chances, but this
Yes.
could get you the Nobel, so you just got to do it now.
This is the easy part.
Okay. So last word about this, which I didn't say and I meant to tell you about, if you start reading about prompt design or prompt engineering, which is also called, then you'll see things that use these words. So a classic is that I did a zero-shot question to an LLM. So zero-shot means no examples were provided. There's few-shot, which means 1 to 5 examples was provided. And then you can either incorporate or not incorporate the chain of thought, but I don't see why you wouldn't incorporate chain of thought. So I would say that's something to just keep in mind that you want to have it show its work. So anyway, that final word on prompt engineering and so forth from the library side anyway.
All right, so we're going to take a 5-minute break so everybody can stretch and I can get some more tranquilizers for technology to work. In your 5-minute break, so in the next session, next block, we're going to talk about open evidence, elicit, and consensus. Please, if you choose to create, at least one person at the table, create an account. Free account is perfectly fine. Or if you already have an account, go ahead and log in so we don't have to do the, all of that going through during presentation. Again, it's open evidence, elicit, and consensus. The links are on your handout. 5 minutes, and then we'll convene.
Right. And you guys probably know that open evidence still requires an NPI, a national provider identifier. And so it's kind of MDs are, it's people who provide online hands-on clinical care. If you do not fall in that category, our advice to, and you want to use open evidence, is that you can email them and say, hey, I'm working in research, I'm a PhD, or I'm a PhD candidate, or whatever, and they will probably just grant you access. So if you like it, definitely take advantage. It's pretty good.
I'm sorry, not covenants. Are you going to go to the slides for open evidence and then to the live?
I'm not even going to go live.
Oh, you're not going to do live?
Yeah.
Why do you want me to pull it up? Just
it gave me an option. I'm going to see kind of how the flow goes, and then yeah. Because I mean, so many hands went up, you know. So it's not like this is actually new to them. So I think there's a couple of little fine points that we can add, you know, that maybe because I wanted them to see that incredible list they provide of all the things that open evidence can do for you. Yeah, because once you're signed in, you don't see that list anymore. Yeah. And so, so I may, with open evidence, if I show an example, then I'm going to back out, I'm going to log out, and then show them that list. It's like, you know, if you need ideas about what this can do for you, here's a list. Yeah. Yeah.
some water. Hang in there.
Yeah.
Parts in the complex pretty far away. Yeah, actually, some have guided me to that place. Okay, and this is the third one I find it. I go on Saturday morning. So actually, literally can't find anybody to ask. Finally, I got someone who said, where's Coda building? Oh, it's over there. I was like, oh. Yeah, like 25. Oh, okay, that's me. No, it's just the purposely built t-shirt.
Oh, that's great.
I'm from my friend and one of the guys of that. Yeah, that's really great event. Glad to come here. Yeah, I'm glad to have the chance to learn from you guys.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
I just watched the prompt session, the co-star guidance. That's really amazing. I use the notebook LM, right?
Yeah, yeah. You could use it on kind of anything AI related.
Okay.
So you could definitely.
So quick question.
Right. Exactly. Oh, we didn't actually.
All right, 30 seconds left. All right, let's come back together and take a look at open evidence next. And I will turn it back over to Whit.
Okay. Like the bad penny who won't go away, I am back. We're going to talk about 3 specialized LLMs that are really all about either science or biomedicine, and we'll start with open evidence, and then I'm going to turn this over to Chris Stave in a few minutes, and he will keep on going with consensus and elicit. I think we asked this earlier about how many, and it seemed like a lot of people are already familiar with open evidence and using it, which is great. It's a great tool. I wanted to just talk a little bit about what we think makes open evidence so great, is that it's an LLM, but it incorporates what's called like a RAG framework, which is a retrieval augmented generation framework. So essentially what it's doing is it has its baseline corpus of information that, but then when you ask it a question, it goes to all these external sources. And if you've looked at the Open Evidence website, you've probably seen that now they have relationships with JAMA and New England Journal, but they also look in PubMed Central, Cochrane, and a variety of other kind of partner organizations, which is good and then raises some questions, as we'll see in a minute. And they use that information they retrieve from outside and bring it into the process of working towards an answer within the LLM, and then they come out with really good answers that should be almost hallucination-free. And then once again, sort of like the idea of writing a good prompt, it should be on target in terms of trying to answer your question. Originally, I was going to open with this one saying, okay, well, go ahead. Oh, you're fine.
The question I had was, one of the participants raised a question that when they used the same LLM, when everyone at the table used the same LLM, it gave different answers. Does open evidence give you consistent answers if you have the question again?
That's been my experience, and the way it's been my experience is I've asked the same question several days in a row, and did not reuse the stored answer, and the answers are remarkably similar. They're not identical, not word for word. Yeah.
Can I just make one quick announcement, just housekeeping? This is great. We want to continue the discourse. The one housekeeping point is, because this is being recorded, if you are making a comment, other than, I think those, all of you, other than maybe one person has consented for recording, please speak in a roaming microphone so we catch the recording. So thank you.
And the other thing that's interesting about open evidence, and I'll show you this in a minute, you can ask it a lot of things. I mean, I thought of it as just sort of an electronic up-to-date in some ways. And actually, my opening line to you was going to be throw out up-to-date, go with open evidence. And now I've kind of hedged that. I have some second thoughts about that sentiment. But as you can see, you can ask, obviously, about how to care for a patient, but you can ask that in multiple languages. It can write you prior authorization letters if that's something you have to do. You can do discharge instructions, home care instructions. They're starting to, open evidence is starting to move into this whole thing where they essentially are creating provider notes, and they'll send distilled versions to the patients, and so forth and so on. So it's going to be fascinating to watch how open evidence evolves over the next year or two. It's really moving. So I have no idea where this is going to end up right now, and it'll be interesting to see if they continue with their no pay model. But we will see. So one of the things that has come up when we've been reading about open evidence is this question about, okay, they've got these partners, like JAMA and New England Journal. Is there preferential treatment of the partners' materials? In other words, they get pushed up to the top of the list. And there's a lot of talk, on the internet about that they do. Got to say, if that's a question you have, I think it's safe to say there is absolutely no data to suggest that is true. It's almost always it's people's impressions. They do a search and they see 2 JAMA articles in the results list, and they say, oh, well, they're pushing JAMA. So anyway, for what it's worth. And the other question that came up that I think of as a corollary to this is that if it's true that they're preferentially accenting, I suppose, the material from JAMA, New England Journal, et cetera, does that mean that in subject areas where there's just not a lot written about that in those bodies of information, does that mean that if you do ask a question in a area that's not as well explored in these, are you going to get a really kind of insufficient answer compared to what you could if it was an even playing field? So, like I said, there's no data on this, but these are questions I think that we should ask as we're looking at the results of open evidence. And then let's see if we can. Actually, let's do this a different way. All right, Chris, how do you get them? His computer. So one of the things that as I was preparing for this, it's interesting now to see that there's a clinical trial at clinicaltrials.gov really trying to look at, okay, how good are the answers between open evidence and then 4 common LLMs, and they're collecting. This is based in based in Cambridge. Doesn't say Harvard, but based in Cambridge, and it's just starting now. They're just collecting data. I think this was posted in September, so no progress yet. But this may be the place where we can get some information about how believable, how much should we trust open evidence when we see a result? So anyway, for what it's worth, and then this one, I can do it. Yeah, good, thank you. Sure. You want the slide? You're a gentleman, a scholar. No, why don't we take me to the open evidence? Oh, sure. There you go. Yeah. Okay, so. So here's an example of an open evidence search. So, and as you can see, well, maybe you can't see because I'm having to squint. What are some competing approaches to the treatment of severe acute pancreatitis? And as you can see, this is an example where they bring a JAMA figure up to the top, although fortunately, when you scroll down, we asked it for 10 references, and when you get done reading at things and you look at the reference list, you realize, okay, there's representation of many journals, but they have access to the figure. I think part of the partnership is that they have access to the figures from New England Journal and JAMA, so they can appear in these results. Okay. Why am I so bad at this? Thank you. I'm a Mac user. This is a PC. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay. Why don't we go ahead and maybe each table, just take a minute, do a, what do you think? Do you think 10 minutes, or do you think we can shorten it up? 5. Yeah, let's do 5 minutes. And everybody open up open evidence, or not everybody. What you're going to need to find is somebody at your table who already has access, and maybe you could even rearrange yourselves a little bit if so you can get to a table where there's somebody who has access to open evidence. And then sit together and just use it for a minute. And I would ask that when you get to open evidence, before you log in, look at the bottom of the page where it goes through this incredible list of all the different things that open evidence might be able to help you with. It's, so it's got a calculator, a medical calculator. It goes on and on. So really interesting. Yes. Sure.
I just wanted to mention that for those of you who don't have an NPI, that doesn't mean you can't get access to open evidence. So if you're a biomedical researcher, a research assistant, that sort of person, you can send a message to open evidence requesting access. And I've helped people with that who are not MDs, who don't have NPIs, and they were able to get access to open evidence. So even if you don't have an MPI, don't give up. Don't think you can't get it, because there's a good chance you can get it. And the other thing I wanted to mention is, look at the response that open evidence gives you to your question, and then think about that when we look at some of the other platforms like Elicit and Consensus.
All right, so 5 minutes to work with your group, and then we'll come back together and see what you found and what you think.
Oh, look at you operating the tabs. What you looking for?
Oh, don't want any of that. Yeah, actually, before you go with it, would you be able to, could you get back to OE and itself and then and maybe log out for a second, and then we could just call our attention to this list?
Here you go.
Are you logged out?
Nope.
Yeah, we need to be logged out to show them that list of what it can do.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so you are.
So log out.
Log out for a second, if you would. It's up towards the top. It's right under the search bar, I believe. Like, what can you do?
There we go. Explore more. No, that's
do
not it.
you do? How do you make the screen image bigger? Can you do a plus thing?
Control.
Oh, so it's totally different. Okay, good.
Explore more capabilities. Ask about drug dosing, home care instruction.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to show?
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to show you this list that I was talking about. So as you can see now, there's curbside consult, ask about drug dosing, write home care instructions, calculate a risk score, write a prior authorization letter, and the list goes on and on. So I think looking at the list is interesting because it might give you some ideas about other ways that you wouldn't have necessarily thought you would use open evidence that might be useful to you. Okay, we're going to disconnect this, and I'm going to hand this over to Chris. Oh, here, you want that.
Everything.
It's almost over for you. You're doing really good.
Well, I'm not too worried about it. I just don't like looking like a dork, you know.
Dork is good. I like dork.
Okay, well, I'm getting the T-shirt then.
That's what I'm comfortable with.
Yes. Okay. Well, God. Okay.
T-shirt.
Yeah. T-shirt. Yeah.
One dork and one pancreas.
Yes. Yeah. Pancreas on the front and dork in the back. Yeah.
And he is with his face on it.
Yes. That was great.
Oh my God, it was so cool. And it looks like him. You can. It's not even a question.
Yes. No. I know who that is. I've seen it somewhere. I've seen that back.
2 minutes. About a minute.
I think the interesting thing about that business of trying to make it look good for us, where if we're getting a break to the next paragraph, I don't think the LLM cares. I think it just, I'm sure it looks. Okay. Well, and I admire you for that. I really do, because I think it should look good. But I think, yeah.
I struggle with that, like.
Oh, I know it.
Because I needed time to get used to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same as that, right? Where,
Yes, thank you.
Yes, and it's like, you don't really have to keep sending separate messages. Yeah.
Luckily, you don't get messages from Colleen, because Colleen is like, she'll hit enter after every one word, and then I'm getting like 20 messages, and it's like, it must be Colleen.
Yes, it's right. I know who this is. Well, and you know about in this thing you can do option and then return. If you do option return, then it gives you the space. Yeah.
All righty.
All right. Let's come back together, and as always, looking for volunteers to speak up on your experience with open evidence. I'd like to hear from at least somebody who has used it before or is maybe a regular user, and I'd like to definitely hear from somebody who is first time looking at this. Volunteers needed. You not keeping eye contact with me is not going to help. Yes, thank you.
Hi, this is Mustafa Rain from Orlando. Just a quick anecdote. I was in clinic with a fellow and wanted to look up something, so I went to UpToDate, which used to be, back in the day, our go-to, and the fellow next to me said, Dr. Rain, you know we're using OpenAI nowadays. So I think for us who've been in practice for a while, just getting up to date, this is very helpful. That said, when you use OpenAI, and I've only used it briefly, and for this we use the pediatric nutritional guidelines sort of approach, prompt. It really gives a nice point-by-point sort of reference for the timing, when to start it, enzymes, etc., which is very similar to what we see and look for when we do our PubMed type of searches. And then when we put it into Copilot, which is the only other AI tool that I have free access to, because others we're running out of our credits for the day. So that's not as organized, but it's still getting the same data. So from a medical sort of literature review perspective, I think the OpenAI is what we look for more, whereas the other LLMs tend to be more like, conversational and lay information. Just a observation for somebody who's really here to learn more and get into it a bit more.
Awesome, thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, gentlemen. Okay, so we're going to go with table 2 and then table 8. So table 2 over here. Mike is coming, and then table 8. And thank you. And please introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is Ajay Dixit from Cincinnati Children's Hospital. And someone who's using this for first time, I feel it's more organized, has more details, and I compared it to ChatGPT, Cloud, and Gemini. So Gemini is more closer to this one, but definitely Open Evidence has more details. It has also references for every statement, which is nice. Yeah.
Double checks. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, and then somebody at table 8, and then I will come to table 6.
Hi, I'm Pabha Surya from Cedar Sinai. So this is my first time using Open Evidence. So I just ask, with highly effective CFTR modulated therapy, do we see less or more CFTR-driven pancreatitis? It gives me, I'm very satisfied with the answers, and it gives me the references as well. The thing that I noticed that in ChatGPT, the references were not reliable actually. It gives like incorrect references. So this is kind of very trustable for me. And I have a question also. So what is the difference between other tools and this Open Evidence? What is the difference?
I'll let Wait, can you talk into the microphone, please? Sorry.
It's based on a biomedical body of evidence, and so I think oftentimes its answers will be more on target for somebody who works in biomedicine. And the other thing is that business of the RAG idea, where it goes and it actively searches for things outside what it already knows and enriches the result as a result. And I think that's why Open Evidence does such a nice job, is that kind of combination of things, how it was trained and how it goes looking for additional information.
Okay, so this is more reliable to use for research area, right, than the other tools? Okay.
That's what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and of course the problem with all of this is how fast it's all evolving, right? I mean, this answer today could be wrong tomorrow, yes.
All right, and then one last volunteer. I had somebody from table 6. Okay, it was the same question as you raised. All right.
This is Syed again from Boston. I have been using Open Evidence very frequently for the last 6-7 months. I think it's very accurate, and as you said, it is really trained on papers and peer-reviewed literature. The new feature actually they introduced, and I found it very helpful, is this dot flows. Basically, you can save search prompts from the past. For example, I have a search prompt, find the mechanism of action, liver and GI toxicity for this medication. So I just dot and it just auto-populates that phrase, and I just put in the name of the medication. You can design many of them. You can draft letters for your patients automatically. You can draft summary of clinical encounters for your patients. So it's super helpful. And the worst of this idea in less than a year went beyond billions of dollars, which speaks to how great this project has become.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any remarks, questions? Question up here at table 2. Mike is coming.
Just a random question, because Open Evidence is backed by NVIDIA. So would it be more practical, because NVIDIA is it provides all the chips and stuff, would it be more practical to just focus on Open Evidence, because this might be the future compared to the other LLMs, specifically to medical literature and to use in clinical?
I'm sorry. In in the other LLMs, which ones are you thinking about? Just the more general?
ChatGPT or Gemini.
Yeah, okay,
yes.
okay. Yeah, this will be interesting for you to see this consensus and elicit discussion as well, because I think this is a battle right now about who's going to have dominance. But you're right. I think given its supporters, it really has some powerful backing, and probably will continue to evolve really quickly.
All right, any other questions about anything we discussed so far? Or just any other questions about anything? All right, I will turn it over. We're going to move into our next section, which is, yes, sorry. Question.
So my name is David. I'm from Karolinska Institutet, and one thing I noticed in the beginning when I used ChatGPT was that it has a predilection for emojis. And that got me thinking a little bit about hard-grained biases or predilections for things. Whenever I use LLMs or open evidence, the question that immediately arises to my head is there a predilection for American sources? Because if I'm asking a question like, which patients with pancreatic cysts should we operate on? I mean, there is not like a super strong consensus across the globe. I mean, you have people in Japan who think in a different way. You have people in Europe who think in a different way. So, yeah, combine that with my question too. Like, could there be predilections for American sources in open evidence and in the other LLMs?
My impression. Thank you. My impression would be probably there is. I mean, if you just think about the way biomedical evidence, how we get our evidence here, and what a dearth of information people in North America have when it comes to Japan, China, India, other places where they have or South America for that matter, where places where good research is going on, but not necessarily being published in the mainstream literature that we see here. And I would think the reverse would kind of be true as well, where people elsewhere may not have as full access to our materials as. So I think there are probably areas of bias, is what I would say. It's unfortunate, and I think it'll get less over time, but hopefully. But I think that's probably true. Yeah. Does that kind of fit with what you're thinking?
Just like to add a comment, I tried prompting in different languages. Also, I noticed that when you try different languages, it would respond a little bit differently. So you would get more sources which are in line with perhaps the country which has this language you're prompting in.
Right. And you're absolutely right. There's no reason you can't modify your prompt to specifically ask about, a specific country or a specific region of the world, and see if it will pull literature there. It'll give you more of a view of what's going on in the thought processes there. So, yeah. I mean, I think you even see regional differences in the U.S., right? I mean, in terms of, depending on what's going on at a research center, and West Coast versus East Coast, et cetera, et cetera. So, okay.
So actually, I have a question for everyone. So a year ago, I gave a presentation to the first year of pediatric residents. We had about 32 people in this session, and I asked, how many folks here are using open evidence? 2 people raised their hand. A month ago, I asked the same question, 32 people, every single person raised their hand. So I guess my question for you guys is, for those of you who use up-to-date, show of hands, how many of you are now using open evidence rather than up-to-date to some extent? So that's pretty darn amazing. I wonder if up-to-date knows this. I ask that because UpToDate has had libraries over a barrel for decades. They could charge anything they want, because if we ever canceled UpToDate, it would be the end of the world for the library. So thank you for sharing that.
When I was working at UCSF, there was talk about canceling UpToDate, and there was essentially protests from the students, residents, et cetera. It was amazing.
Active protests outside the library?
Yeah, so this is like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't bullhorns walking around the sidewalk, but there were signs and a lot of requests.
So not to belabor the point, but I really want to make sure that everybody who has access to LibKey installs LibKey today. And I'm showing you this page intentionally because if you're not sure, install LibKey and you're going to be asked what your affiliation is. type it in, and chances are you're going to be listed there. You may not know your institution has access to LibKey, but there's a good chance that you do. This means you don't have to go back to the library's webpage. You don't have to struggle with links to the publisher's sites. You don't have to worry about paywalls. So this is a huge time saver. And the other thing I wanted to emphasize, if you find yourself typing a reference out manually, know that you're making a terrible mistake and you're wasting your precious time. Download a citation manager, I don't care which one it is, be it Zotero or EndNote or whatever, but have one installed. Because even if you're using PowerPoint and you're typing in a citation, wasting time. Because Zotero can take care of all of that. I haven't typed a citation out in over 15 years, nor should you. So one last pitch to get LibKey and to get Zotero. Okay, so next up, I want everybody to go ahead and log into this wonderful AI tool called Consensus. The easiest way to do that is to go to Google and type in Consensus AI and then click on the link. You're going to have two options: to log in with your Google account or to create an account. You can create an account, but it's faster just to use your Google account and log in. And what you're going to see is essentially this page, but chances are it's going to be black, okay? So if it is and you don't like that color scheme, come down to the lower left, click on your email login address, then click on toggle theme and change it from night to day, which is what I prefer. So I want everybody, as soon as they can, to make sure they're logged in, and if you have problems, just raise your hand and we'll scooch around and get you logged in. So what is Consensus? I actually I think we discovered Consensus about a month and a half or so ago, so we're still kind of getting used to it, but it is, like many of these platforms, it's an AI-enabled research platform. And what makes Consensus particularly compelling is it really tries to understand what the dialogue is about a particular research topic, hence the name Consensus. So you can put in, and I hope you will at some point, a yes/no question and see what the consensus is about that particular topic. We would prefer, if you can, to use something that there's controversy about, so that you can see the different viewpoints of the articles and the researchers. So that's a really compelling reason to use Consensus, and it pulls from something called Semantic Scholar, as does another tool I'm going to show you called Elicit. Semantic Scholar is 250 million plus academic scholarly research articles. So that's the corpus. The full text of all of those articles is what both Consensus and Elicit draw from. That doesn't mean that you have access to the articles in Semantic Scholar. Just like when you search Google Scholar, you're searching full text, but that doesn't mean you have access to the full text. That depends on your institution's subscriptions. So I'm going to show you an example of a yes/no question. Let me undo that. And let me back up a little bit. A lot of these platforms are going to look kind of the same. There's going to be a big empty expanse in the middle with a box, and you put in your query. Then over on the left, you've got extra options. So this is, no different from that. So the question that I asked was a simple one, and it was, is acute pancreatitis in children being diagnosed more frequently, and if so, why? Okay, that seemed to be a topic of some controversy and disagreement. So the default version of Consensus is going to run out, and in this case do two separate searches with this little agentic agents on acute pancreatitis incidence and trends, and then another one on reasons for increase in diagnosis. So it analyzes the results, and it comes back with a summary of trends and incidence, a table showing some data about that. What are the reasons that the increase in diagnosis is happening? Could be that it's greater awareness in testing, could be referral patterns to tertiary care institutions, Could be changes in other conditions, comorbidities, what is known versus what is uncertain, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it does a really, I think, very effective deep dive into what different research is showing and compares and contrasts. Over on the right, you've got a list of references that it's drawing from, and then you have lots of these little teeny tiny icons. And this is an example of where, as you use these tools, the options you have become sometimes a little overwhelming and confusing and unintuitive. But once you get used to it, once you've played around with it a little bit, it's not so bad. So the icons over here are telling me that this study is observational, it's very rigorous, it's highly cited. That's good to know. It gives you a link to get the article. It's a busy page, but nonetheless, I think it's really useful and relevant and compelling. And you can always turn references off if it's too busy. So that's an example of a yes-no question. Another kind of way you can approach consensus is to take an article that's maybe the center of controversy and say, like in this case, how do the findings in the following paper, and you add the citation, agree or disagree with current opinion on the efficacy of, I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, fulfirinox versus gemcitabine. Am I close enough? Yeah. So you put that in, and then consensus goes out, does its analysis, comes back, and let's just cut to the chase here. So the Lancet trial shows that fulfirinox does not improve survival over gemcitabine. This fits with the current consensus that neoadjuvant therapy is beneficial overall, but challenges the previously widespread expectation that fulfirinox would be superior. Okay, I don't have to read all that. You get the idea. But the tool is great for what's the current situation with this study or with this topic. And then the last thing that I wanted to show, and this is nothing fancy, is using the table feature in consensus to build a table. In this case, create a table of current methods for diagnosing acute pancreatitis in children. Super simple. There it is. But I'm doing this intentionally because when you guys move to Module 2, you're going to have the option of creating tables from studies that you upload to Google Notebooks. So compare and contrast. And I want to give you 10 minutes to just kick the tires on this. Play around with it, do the yes-no question, add a reference to an article that you want to see what's the current consensus about its conclusions. Just go out, play, have fun.
Feel free to discuss with your table. It got very quiet again. Good job. There. It's all. Yes. I'm going to tell the tale about you and up to date, your history with up to date. Yeah, it's good.
They just have one size, but do you want the ice level? Do you want
Right, about 2 minutes left.
questions, the 5 questions or something like that. After, before you get to, you can say no. You can ask some of them at least. Before we're out of time, I just wanted to mention one extra feature that Consensus offers, as does Elicit, as does some of these other AI platforms, and that is the ability to link your account in this case, Consensus, to your Zotero citation and PDF collections. So that means you can easily import your PDFs from Zotero over to platform X, Y, or Z and analyze them, data extract them, whatever. But what I've seen is the citation management program that these platforms are choosing is Zotero, which is good for you because it's free. It's also, in my opinion, the single most powerful citation management program out there, great for collaboration and great for capturing content on the web. So just wanted to mention that to use it, go to My Library, click on Add Papers, and that eventually is going to connect you to Zotero. The downside of using this so far with Consensus, it's going to import everything in your Zotero collection. Every collection, every library you have is going to be imported. So they need to work through that.
All right, and the 10 minutes is up, so I need volunteers to report back on your experience with Consensus. Anybody? Yes, I'm looking for a mic. Can we have a mic? Thank you. Table 2. Thank you.
So, the question that we asked is basically fluid resuscitation in acute pancreatitis, which is kind of proven to be beneficial in this landmark waterfall trials, but there is also some data on the Apprentice Consortium. So we compared waterfall trial versus Apprentice Consortium. We still don't have a clear consensus on that topic. Basically, it says waterfall trial is good, but probably because the data from Apprentice is not published yet, maybe it's not able to compare these two. However, I used the data from the abstract and I loaded that to the consensus, and I wanted to compare these two. It kind of still not showing which one is better than the other, but obviously the waterfall trial, it says it's no harm, go forward with that. But maybe we need more data to, just to justify my question.
Right. So what did you provide it? You gave it PDFs of?
I gave the PDF of the waterfall trial from New England Journal of Medicine, and I gave the abstract of the Apprentice Consortium data.
Yes.
Just to see. Yes.
I think you're right. I think it probably can't access full text, and I think it really limits its ability to analyze. Some of the AIs will actually say this, where it's like, we can't tell you because we don't have enough information to go on. And so I thought Consensus did that, right? Does Consensus,
thank you.
As far as you know, does Consensus say things like we don't have enough data to?
Yeah.
So I'm a little surprised you didn't get that message where we would say something like, we just don't have enough data.
So yeah, to that question, if there's not enough evidence, one of the features of Consensus is its consensus meter, which is a graphical representation of agreement, disagreement, mixed. And it'll say we don't have enough evidence to generate that particular graphical representation of yes, no, maybe. So does that get at your question? Yeah.
All right, anybody else? One more volunteer. Yes.
Table 2 is.
Thank you. So when I put a prompt, it says like 17.9 million retrieved and 80 eligible. So what does it mean? Like, it's putting the information, pulling out the information from those 80 papers, ignoring others?
I think my interpretation of that is that it's doing a very broad search. It's finding all sorts of papers. It then it takes that set of papers that it analyzes, what did you say, 17.9 million or something, and it says it applies more stringent criteria to it, and then it ends up with 18. And so I think it's winnowing, or it's cutting down the numbers to a set that it believes truly answer the question.
And the pro version is going to end up with, I think at most 20 papers that it's going to do a deep dive into. The deep version is going to do 50 papers. So the more you're willing to pay, the more it's willing to do.
All right, and there's a question or a remark on consensus of number 8, table 8. I don't have a mic.
So the answer, this gives like 80% of this yes or something, that any answer that consensus gives, how do we put this information to a presentation or a paper? Can we put this as a reference?
Can they use it like whatever consensus's output is? How do you incorporate it into a paper? How do you reference it?
So yeah, it's going to give you output, and then it's going to give, it's AI giving you output, not a human. So whatever information, whatever answer it's giving you, you have to look at the evidence it's citing. That's the key part of this. I would never take an answer from an AI platform verbatim and try to integrate that into a paper without checking the sources that it's citing. So I think that's sort of the underlying takeaway. Is, yes, this is helpful. It's giving you some notion of, say, in the case of consensus, but you have to look at the articles to see if, in fact, what it's telling you is backed up by the paper itself.
Thank you.
All right. For the interest of time, we are going to move on to the last tool that Chris will demonstrate for us, and that is Elicit AI. So while he's talking, if you can log in, again, a free account is good, and it has a pro account.
Yeah, I think that the easiest way to do it is just Google Elicit AI and then follow the link, create an account. And it's been a while since I've created an account in Elicit, but I think it's use your Google account to create an account. It may ask you a bunch of sort of fluffy questions about who you are and what your interests are and all that sort of thing. You can skip those if you like and just create your account. And much like consensus, you've got a big field with sort of blankness in the middle and a big box for you to put in your question. And then on the left, you have options to do different interesting things. So what I wanted to showcase, let me back up a little bit with Elicit. So Elicit, like consensus, is an AI-enhanced research platform. And like consensus, it draws in part, not wholly, from the 250 million articles in Semantic Scholar. And then there's other stuff that it draws from too. It's not always clear what that other stuff is. And then it puts its own bells and whistles on top of that content, just like consensus does. So I would say the main selling point for Elicit, the one that is pushing hard in its marketing, is its ability to extract data from papers, okay? You upload a citation with an abstract. You upload a PDF or 2 or 3 or 10. And then you tell Elicit what data elements you want to pull from those papers, and it will try to do that. The higher tiers you go, the more papers you can extract from and the more data elements you can pull. So I'm just going to stop there to say, just like I said in the response to the person yonder, every data element that it pulls out of a paper, if you're going to use that in a paper, you really should consider checking every single one of them, because what Elicit allows you to do is when it pulls, and you'll see this in a second, when it pulls, say, limitations of a study or outcomes or whatever, you can click on that data element and it will show you where in the abstract or in the paper it drew that conclusion that this is the data element you're looking for. And frankly, I think you have to check. You have to check. And that's just true in general with AI. So this is Elicit, And the four things that I wanted to profile are the find papers option, the report option, the research agent, and then talk a little bit about what it claims is a systematic review process support platform, I guess I could call it. So first off, find papers. The question is, what does the current evidence suggest about the effectiveness of prophylactic antibiotics in preventing infectious complications, in severe acute pancreatitis? So this is what you're going to see if you use the find papers option in elicit. You're going to get an answer over here. Grain of salt. Treat it with a grain of salt. What you want to do is come over here and look at the sources that it's citing. That's really important to do. But what I like about this feature of elicit is the fact that I can cut to the chase on something that I'm really interested in. I don't have time to read the whole paper. What I really care about are what's the study type? What are the limitations? What are the outcomes measured? And you can do that pretty darn easily by going here to add column, type in the data bit that you're interested in this case outcome, and then elicit is going to grind through, in this case, the abstracts to try to determine what the outcome is for that paper. And then it's going to populate that column with the information for that paper. With the free version, I think you can add a couple of extra data extraction columns. As you go higher, and I'm using Bogey's Pro version, you can add more and more and more data columns. When you go Pro, you can actually download the extracted data as a CVS file, an Excel file, which is kind of cool. But every single element in here, again, if I was using this for a publication, man, I would click on it and double check. Click on it, double check. If you're going to be doing a systematic review, like a systematic review with meta-analysis or just a systematic review or a scoping review or whatever, and you think you're going to kick the tires on this to try it as your data extraction partner, you're still probably going to have to check every element. But I think, and I haven't worked yet with a team who's used elicit for doing this, but I suspect that it still is going to save you time, right? It extracts the data, populates a spreadsheet, you can check it. You didn't have to do that, right? You didn't have to take the data out and enter it into a column. Elicit did that for you. All you have to do is check. So I think the overhead of doing evidence syntheses using a tool like this is not insignificant. I think it's worth trying. And you can try it for a month. Let's say you're doing a systematic review. You've got 30 papers you need to data extract from. Go with a monthly subscription, pro level, or whatever level allows you to analyze 30, and pilot it. Try it out. It's not that expensive, and I think ultimately it could save you time and money. So anyhow, this is the simple find papers option. And so that's that. Next up is research agent. So this is a little different. So research agent, where's my research agent? Looked at whether, scroll up to the top here, what does the current evidence suggest about the effectiveness of probiotic prophylactic antibiotics in preventing complications, clinical outcomes in SAP? And it did the analysis, and it gave me an answer, and it included citations. It didn't bifurcate the answer from the citations like the find papers did. But if you have the pro version, you could ask it to do something a little more sophisticated. Build a comprehensive severe acute pancreatitis guideline comparison table. And it said, well, okay, but this is going to require a lot of effort on my part, so we're going to use the extended version of the research agent, which you get if you're using the pro level. So it did all of these wonky things. I've created a comparison table, 8 major guidelines, narrative report synthesizing, blah, 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 and there's your table. It took about 10 minutes for it to generate this particular table. But it just goes to show you that tiers are important. Tier 1 gets you some stuff. Tier 2 is very empowering. And I have to make the recommendation, if you're using a tool and you use it a lot and you're not paying for it, think about kicking up to the second tier. You know, use those tools that it's offering you, even if it costs you 20 bucks a month. And then the last thing that I wanted to show is report. So the report option will take a question, and this could be a humongous question. I got a question from one of our informatics fellows. He wanted to know what's the current situation with the use of agentic AI in healthcare. And he had 8 different subdomain questions. We pumped the whole thing into Elicit, and it came back with a 14-page report or analysis of the current scene of agentic AI in healthcare. And this is an example, in this case, guideline recommended screening protocols, type 1 diabetes, reducing time to diagnosis, improving health outcomes. You get the abstract, the methods, the results, the included studies, effects, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's important to know this is AI generated, not a team of humans. Everything that it says you should be suspicious of, because it will miscite. There was a table that we got in this report for a project that I'm working on, where the table said systematic reviews and then listed 5 systematic reviews. One of them was not a systematic review. It was like a case series or something like that. So it's not perfect, but it's worth trying. You know, give it a shot. Now, if you use the report feature in Elicit, it's going to take you about 10 minutes or so to run. So we definitely, if you want to try it, try to do it before lunch. And I'll finish up with, before I let you go play, let's do, yeah, here's the systematic review. So I'm, and my colleagues, I think, are very skeptical, and feel free to chime in particular Whit, about its ability to act as a comprehensive systematic review, screening, data extracting, searching platform. It's good at the data extraction. The other stuff I'm pretty skeptical about. The best, in our opinion, the most solid evidence synthesis platform, and one we subscribe to, is Covidence. It allows for multiple human screeners. It does some relevancy ranking as you're screening studies. It has customizable data extraction sheets and bias assessment forms. It's a really solid, dependable platform, whereas Elicit is still pretty young and untested, in my opinion. But enough talking. I would love for you guys to go explore Elicit and see what you think.
All right, let's take about 10 minutes with your table and try out. If you're using the free version, you will see that some of the features, I think the systematic review and the data analysis or extract data feature may be logged. You'll see a little lock next to it in the free version. But go ahead, try it out, and then we'll come back, and this will be the last report back key type of thing. So find your speakers.
So we could ask the...
they've lost their Sudafed.
Oh my God. Look for somebody who's sneezing a lot.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need a Kleenex?
About 5 minutes.
Yes. Reminds me of the audio monitors. If you go to a music concert, yeah.
2 minutes.
What if it's all? First thing you have to do is turn it around and be like, all right, that's a good one. I do that nearly every grad. Take a picture supposed to be back. First thing I did, I'm like, this is gonna be good. You're way up. Oh wow, that makes way more sense. Yeah, I usually take like 5. Yeah, you got about 6 pictures or one of them. One of them, some of the eyes all.
All right. Let's one last time come back together because some of you are shoe shopping, which means you're done with the exercise. I'm not making eye contact. You? No. All right. So anybody would like to, the mics. Do we have the mics? Yes, there's. All right. So who would like to give feedback on Elicit or kind of walk us through? Thank you, Table 2, our reliable partner for today. Table 2. Several speakers have raised their hands. Be more like Table 2, everybody else. Be more like Table 2.
I cannot give any insight besides, sorry, this is Alka Goel from Stanford. I tried my best to use Elicit, but it's trying to make me buy a pro version. And so I'm still stuck trying to, manipulate the system and not have to buy it.
I feel like you broke the free version, but, but I'm sorry. Yes, I don't have an answer to that.
And I did sign in as Stanford University with my Stanford University email, and it's still...
It's not.
Yeah.
Is it possible that... No, because you should... I don't have a good answer to that. I'm sorry.
Did you type in your name at the top?
Yes.
When you scroll all the way to the bottom, like if you skip over the plans, where it's asking you to select, there's a thing that says continue with basic, and that's free, and that worked for me. And I just had to enter my name. But we found that the free part runs out once you ask too many questions, and it locks you out. But you are at least able to try it.
So we worked with Elicit probably 8-9 months ago. Basically, it became as a necessity because we don't have enough team to do systematic reviews and meta-analysis for us. I started using it as a free version, and we felt it is very useful. So now we are paying like $30 or $40 per month, and I feel it's really good for systematic reviews. We asked a question which was not answered, and it, for example, PPI or PCAPs in peptic ulcer bleeding or ESD, post-ESD bleeding, and it pulled out it gave all the information, including the original articles and abstract. But for systematic reviews and for publication-wise, we only chose to have full articles, and it helped us a lot. And usually when you try to do a systematic review, it takes a bunch of team members to help you with the project, and it may last almost probably 2 to 3 months. Yes. Yeah. But with Elicit, we were able to do that project within 7 days. But we were very cautious. We were very cautious to see, because we want to publish it, right? So we were very cautious. We double-checked and everything, and we submitted this manuscript within a month, which is under review for almost 5 months. So,
oh, wow. Right.
So the answer is still we're waiting for that.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Table 6.
No, it's
Thank you. So Chaitanya, I have a question for you. Before the world of systematic reviews, before systematic reviews became a mainstream methodology in the clinical literature, we had narrative reviews. We used to have the expert in the field write a narrative review. It would be published in the New England Journal, and that used to be the go-to resource for information about that question. But when systematic reviews came into being, there are 2 things that systematic reviews do. One is there are 3 things they do. They define the question very nicely, very clearly defined question. The second is they retrieve all relevant literature. The third is they do assessment of the risk of bias. I'm curious, when you use elicit, the kind of information you get back, is it something comparable to a narrative review by an expert, or is it really a systematic review where you have a systematic evaluation of the risk of bias of the evidence as well?
So I don't think it's a narrative review. It gives you the risk of bias and everything. But as I mentioned, we did our work, and we'll see what the reviewers give us as a feedback for publication. But before diving into using elicit for using it for scientific publications in peer-reviewed journals, we did check if there are any prior, publications that have used elicit, and we had, good data to support that. But to answer your question, I think we did. It's not the narrative; it gives the bias as well.
And then table 4.
I think kind of to that point, my name is Garrick. I'm from the University of Florida. I'm a PhD student. And I think one of the main questions of systematic reviews is also, is it reproducible, or is it just kind of in the ether of not being able to be reproduced? I think with these large language models, it's important to make sure that you can actually reproduce your findings in whenever you're searching for literature, keep the prompts and everything. But that is my 2 cents on reproducibility.
And that's, from a librarian's perspective, that's an excellent point about reproducibility, and takes me back to my previous comment about how you need to work with a librarian to set up that search string. I have built in. To set up that search string, because that makes it one step closer to the results and the papers that you're finding being more reproducible.
Yeah, that's been I have kind of a pet peeve about elicit, which is that I think it's a little too opaque at some level. It's not transparent enough, I think. And as a result, I think you just have to be, as you said, very careful about how you use it. I would also like it, and I've got to say, I haven't fully experimented with this, so I may not even be right. But I think in the end, the ideal world, you could ask any of these AI agents to essentially generate searches, and then, but I think you take the searches to a librarian and just have them look at them, because basically, if the search isn't great, isn't really done well, then you're going to end up with a set of materials that may not truly represent what's out there, and you wouldn't even necessarily know it. So that's been my concern with elicit, is that the search piece may not be high enough quality and reproducible enough, because your reproducibility point is really important. And so it's more just a be cautious. And I think these tools are going to continue to evolve, and it may be that we can start to do these kind of. I've been talking the ear off of people at work about this notion of, we've got all these tools, they all kind of do a little bit different things, and it should be possible to put together essentially an interactive set of AI tools to safely go from one end to the other of this systematic review process, and kind of escape pitfalls potentially of things that may not be good enough. And then the other piece is what you also brought up, which is this notion about, I think it's really important, if you're going to use AI in your publication work, to look at the publisher's website, to look at, there's an organization called the, is it ICJME? Anyway, the International. Yes, that one. And they have a nice statement about the use of AI in systematic review, scoping review, anything that would be called an evidence synthesis type study. So it's just good to be aware that that's evolving quick too. And journals have gone from being flat out, you can't use anything that's AI in our journal. Like Science did that for a while, and now everybody's starting to back off a little bit. So the whole thing's just changing so fast. It's remarkable. Yes.
So sometimes we use multiple AI tools to research a single topic. Can is there an AI tool that can synthesize all those searches and make a comprehensive report for you?
You know, this sounds ridiculous, but I think it would be very possible to essentially use all of the reports, put them all together in one AI, and then say, what did you think of all of that?
Yes.
And then potentially kind of even out or smooth the results so that you can feel good about what you have. And then, of course, then the human still needs to read it.
We still need to read it, but just like get a comprehensive report.
Yes.
Putting 4 or 5 searches input it in one AI tool. So is there such a tool available?
You know, I actually think most of the general AIs would do it. You know, like you can put, I think
Which is the most reliable for that?
Well, who said they were biased towards Claude? I'm really biased towards Claude. I think Anthropic maybe has their heart in the right place, even though I think they contributed to the takedown of Serbia or something. Anyway, so I think Claude does a nice job. I think their approach, at least their stated approach to the development of AI is nice because they're being a little bit careful and measured about it, as opposed to OpenAI, which seems like it's the Wild West for them, and they're just like going gangbusters to go as fast as they can and be the leader, and who knows with what unintentional consequences are going to come from that. So I really like Claude. I've had good experiences with Google's Gemini as well. I've not had very good experience with Copilot, and but these is like one person, so I'm not sure it even counts, and I'm sure it's not. There's no objective information to say, oh yeah, this one's better than another. Yeah.
And can I ask one more question? Is there any particular AI tool which you think is good for making slides? Compared to just getting data?
Well, you are going to hear about this later.
Okay.
I think it's because Google Notebook LM is one where it will generate slides for you.
Like even diagrams and flow charts, etc.?
We'll find out together. I haven't used it very much because it hasn't really come into our workflow that much. But that's what you'll be hearing about that later today.
Okay, thank you.
All right, for the sake, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead. Okay. I think the table 2 should keep the mic because then we have participation. So for the sake of time, you have access to the slides. There are 3 slides on responsible AI use. Read the slides, use it responsibly. That's the bottom line. Actually, the bottom line, there are 2 bottom lines. One of them is that AI is not going to be your co-author or author. So think of it just like databases find the articles. Your citation manager helps you with your citations. Your spell checker helps you with your spell check. None of those are authors. Same. So use it responsibly. Even better, there is an exercise that we didn't get to at the very end of your handout. Just feed it into any of the Gen AI tools. I'm planning to publish with XYZ publisher, pull up author guidelines and AI use limitations and guidelines. Check before you start writing, you start using the tool, you put your article together, you use the AI, and now you cannot publish it in a certain journal because of their zero tolerance policy or whatever policy you have. So please always check. If you don't know how to check, get your librarian. We'll do this all the time, we'll check. Okay, so that's very quickly. And that's very quickly because we actually received 4 questions beforehand, and I want to make sure we get to it. I will read the questions. I don't have slides about it. I'll try to articulate it. The first question, and these questions are coming from Dr. Apol Chowdhury. And yes, thank you. Is there a tool that can carry out meta-analyses and forest plots on data extracted from papers included in systematic reviews without manual extraction of data?
And we're looking for input from the crowd, too, if people have ideas about this, because we talked about it, but I'm not sure we have good answers.
So carry out meta-analyses and forest plots. Yes. Table 6, if we could please have a mic.
I believe that Covidence has something in the pipeline. I've seen people try it out, but it's not reliable from the experiment, from the example that I saw, it couldn't do, and particularly it wouldn't do a good job when you have to get information out of figures. That's the last I've seen.
Thank you. And our short answer is that not to our knowledge, but that's why I wanted to put it out to everybody in case you are familiar.
And for those of you who use R, they have all the statistical packages and could generate some of these plots, but it's kind of it's a whole nother world you're getting yourself into. And it's not as if you can just say, please generate a plot based on this data. Yes?
Table 6, please.
That's a great comment. If you go to any of these LLMs and say, create a tutorial to use R to do the meta-analysis, given you have the data, and to do the meta-analysis and generate plots, I'm expecting it'll create good tutorials because there are already good tutorials on the web and it will retrieve that information.
And somewhat along the same lines, the second question was, is there an AI tool to carry out data extraction from studies included in a systematic review? So any reliable data extraction tool.
Illicit claims to.
Right. Yes, I mean, there are tools that claim to do an amazing job, questionable. And again, always check with the publisher first as to what you're trying to get AI to do. Any other input to that one? No? All right. Number 3, AI tool to prepare higher quality search strategies that encompasses all papers relevant to the topic of study. So again, you can start with your Gen AI, then take it to the librarian. Your librarian is not an AI tool, and I know that you're asking about AI tools, but that the human still needs to be in that particular loop, and that all takes us back to reproducibility that was previously mentioned. And lastly, AI tool or technique to identify papers that have overlapping data sets in a meta-analysis.
I don't know about you guys, but the only thing I could think about here was that this sounds like it's going to be primarily a human endeavor to look at the data sets and then maybe you may be able to, what do you think? You might be able to put a prompt in an AI to have it do some of this work, but boy, it'd have to be a really careful prompt. No, yeah.
Yeah, I've done it manually, and those are not typical, those are not easy judgments to make. And many cases, we had to go back to the author and say, hey, can you help us with this question because we want to understand so that we can disambiguate these two data sets. Those are not easy judgments. I can't imagine an LLM or another AI agent being able to do that without actually doing that homework.
There's a remark at table 8, please. Mic to table 8.
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a mic. Sorry.
Yes, I have one.
All right. You brought a BYO mic.
A quick question. I think one of the very time-consuming part of conducting a systematic review is basically screening through all the abstract from the first search, and narrowing down to relevant abstract, and then narrowing down to those that merit full text, basically finding, and then reviewing the full text. So, as you know, the Prisma of workflow requires numbers for each of these steps. Is there any, I think no, but I just want to make sure, is there any tool from these resources that we can use to help with those numbers? Because I assume we can use these like Elicit for final papers that we are narrowing down for data extraction and generating that summary table, but we cannot rely on them to find those numbers in terms of the relevant abstracts, relevant full text, and finally included full text, because those are needs like human work.
So I think if you have access, institutional access to Covidence, Covidence does this for you automatically, and it is highly reliable.
Wait, automatically?
The Prisma chart?
Oh, yes, it generates a Prisma chart, but the humans are still selecting.
You have to basically have two reviewers
just for the Prisma chart itself.
Yeah, but it's still individual selection. There's a thing called AS Review, and I don't know if you've looked at it, but it really is designed to, it uses AI to sort results, and it tells you at some point that you've looked at everything that's relevant based on your previous selections. And they claim they can cut down time title and abstract screening about 30 to 50% by doing it. The limitation is that it doesn't easily work with two independent reviewers. You know, so you would have to essentially reconcile two independent reviewers, find out where they differed, and then have some kind of reconciliation process where they agree to include or exclude. Ryan, you know that one? It's Rayyan. It's worth a look. It's another tool that I think is really good. It's AI driven these days. Didn't used to be, but it would assist with this as well. It really kind of streamlines the title and abstract screening process quite a bit. Yes.
So that question has been in the discussion at most conferences since 2012. Tom Trickley knows at Brown. He was previously at Tufts and then moved to Brown. His team was one of the few first people to attempt solving that problem using conventional NLP techniques. This was just before LLMs took off the ground. There are teams in UIUC and North Carolina who are solving that problem. I say they're solving the problem because this goes back to the question about reproducibility. The commercial software, that's a good list. I've heard about all of those, never tried any of those, but if you want to try any of those, I would go back to what Boglarka said. Go to the author's instructions for the journal. If they don't say anything explicit, find out from the editor, because if you do that and you write your paper and the editors come back and say, no, we don't allow that for our papers, then you're in soup. The second thing I would say is take a sample of your abstracts, screen them manually, test out your method so that at least you have take a random sample, so at least you have some estimates of error in that sensitivity and specificity.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
So we've only got a couple of minutes left. I really wanted to showcase briefly this absolutely mind-blowing tool called BioAI. So of all of the platforms that I've shown you today, this is mind-bending. It is just the coolest thing. So broadly speaking, BioAI is designed to act as an autonomous or even semi-autonomous AI research scientist. And it was a PhD student at the Albert Einstein School of Medicine who introduced me to this. And I don't have a lot of time, but basically it will create a research plan for you. And it uses 4 different little agentic AI agents to scamper around and do things like do multiple literature searches, do data extraction, do novelty assessment, and it is just, and I know I don't have time to do it justice, but before you leave this weekend, just Google BioAI, log in, and give it a research project that you're working on, and I think you will be amazed at what it can do. So this is not a pancreatic thing. This is a develop an elective for culinary medicine. This is a real-life request I got from 2 pediatric residents. They wanted to create a 3-week elective on culinary medicine. So we came here to Bias, put in the question, it iterated back and forth, and it eventually ran multiple lit searches on different aspects of this question. It gave overall objectives, current objectives, hypothesis, rationale, novelty statement, experimental design, on and on and on. And it was just amazing at what it created. And I hope before you leave at the end of the week, you try this out. Just put in a research project of interest to you, iterate back and forth with Bio, and see what it creates, because I think you'll be impressed. It's an amazing tool. I know we have a hard stop at noon, but I just wanted to showcase that a little bit, and please try it. It's amazing. And I'll end there.
All right, with that, thank you, everybody. Thank you for everybody who spoke up, and everybody who didn't still participated. I definitely want to thank Whit and Chris for putting a lot of this content together and their super hard work in the last 6 months. So let's give them a hand, if we could. Thank you. And I will turn it back to Dr. Hussain.
Wow, that was energizing. Who feels like they learned something? All right. I mean, I'm in with these guys quite a bit, but I feel like I learn something new every time. And so this was so successful. Let's give Boglarka Huddleton a round of applause. So, thank you very much. Now, I'm keeping you between, I'm keeping you from having lunch, which is not a good thing. And so I'm going to just make a couple of pitches, and then I think our lunch has just arrived. So actually, we have a couple of minutes, but it is here in the building somewhere. And so have you all picked up your gift? Okay, if you've not picked up your gift, please pick up your gift, which is in a red bag. And now put on your gift. Even if Mustafa, you came from UCSF, it's okay to wear Stanford gear when you're at Stanford. So grab your gift. You should say it. You should say something about the travel award. And okay, while you're picking up your gift, and please pick up your gift and come right back, because we're going to do something right before lunch, which only takes a couple of minutes. But we need you put on your hats if you can. If you have a hat restriction, then obviously it's okay.
Well, but everyone has it. They can pick one.
Yes, yes.
It's for everyone.
Everyone. And now
Also, just a quick announcement. Not all of you, only the younger ones who got travel awards. Please, you can collect your travel awards now or during lunchtime after the picture, right? So, but make sure you get your travel award. And if you don't, that's fine too. I'll keep those, but I can always use some more money. But if you did are awarded, please get your check or cash, whatever.
And thank you. And I just want to make an announcement about that. The APA has sponsored this entire event. And sure, you had to pay a registration fee, some of you, but let me tell you, it's highly subsidized. And so I also want to say that the AP has been very generous in offering 16 travel awards for this meeting. So 16 of you, theoretically, should be receiving travel awards. If you're at Stanford, we gave you a discount, but you don't get the travel award because you only have to travel out of bed to come to your normal work. If you're at UCSF, we made an exception, so I think you will get the travel award. But we need not say more. And so I just want to recognize that this is really the substance, the mission, the principles, the values of the APA, which is to bring trainees, young researchers into forums like this. So let's give the APA and its leadership, Dr. Shaluja, a round of applause.
Thank you to our president of APA. So he's the one who's responsible. Thank you.
Well,
thank you, Suhail, for organizing.
Thank you. And he writes the checks. So that's why we have to be extra nice to him. I'm just going to walk you through a couple of quick things just so you're aware. We will, at this point, I'm going to tell you about the program just so you're aware of what the next things are. But right after I tell you, we're going to have a group photo. And the photo will be right here. And I think Nancy and Ash will position us. And so That will just take a couple of minutes. And then, of course, there's lunch where we can relax and spend time together. We have about an hour before we start up again. And I presume everyone has the links that were sent by email, which has the program. And so for you all to know, group photo, then lunch for an hour. At 1 o'clock, we're going to hear from Dr. Gary Peltz, whose Nature Medicine feature you received yesterday, and he's right behind us. And so there he is, in the flesh. And so please introduce yourself to Gary, go meet him. He's kindly joining us for the lunch and other parts of today. And after Gary's talk, we'll have Q&A. So again, think of the questions. We'll try to do rapid fire, make this as interactive as possible. And then right after that, we're going to go into Module 2. So we're going to turn up the burner. and it'll be actually really fun because Module 2 is mostly hands-on. And you really need to leverage your tables. So this is about working together with your table. You have assigned tables in the link in the Google Drive. You can go to the Google Slides and you will see what table you are assigned to. So please sit at your tables at 1 o'clock. And at that table, each table has a facilitator. So don't feel like you're completely alone, and we've helped the facilitators understand the assignments. And we've also tried to take into account if you filled out the survey and asked to be part of the advanced group, or I threw many of you into an LLM and I figured out who knows a little more AI than the rest, and I put you into the advanced group of coding agents. Some of you I intentionally moved to the beginner group so you could be a facilitator, like Swaroop. So just wondering. And after that, then we get to relax again. At 4:30, for those who are interested, and hopefully the weather allows, we're going to do a walking tour. And there are 5 walking tour groups. And if you're interested, the spoiler is you can see what they are going to tell you about in the Google Drive. But that should be a lot of fun if you are interested. And then we have a break. And then at 6 to 7, we have a cocktail hour, which is right near here. We have this whole area, and then there's a space for a cocktail hour just behind us. And then we have dinner, which is here. And at the dinner, we'll have a time to network and to get to know one another. There's no assigned seating for dinner, so you can sit anywhere you want. But at that time, Dr. Saluja may show a few slides about the APA. And then tomorrow, we're really going to try to start and get you out if you have to catch a flight. Because I know many of you have like 2 o'clock flights and things like that. And some of you have like a NIH meeting on Monday. And so I think we want to be mindful of that. So does anyone have any questions about that before we start?
I don't have a table assigned.
Oh, okay. I will assign you a table. Yeah, sorry. I think somehow, yes. And Walter, did you have a? Okay. Yes, we'll put her in the hard table. So let's again give a round of applause for the librarians for Module 1. And at this time, if I could ask everyone and to come up to the front for the photo, and if Ash and Nancy could help us. All right. We'll move this out of the way. Thank you. If I can ask Gary and Chris, who's also our keynote panelist for tomorrow, Chris Yang, and Dr. Saluja, Dr. Ashkantala, several of the APA members who are senior members, not by age, I promise, but Walter, I'm going to ask Dr. Goyal, if you can please come up to the front and the center. And okay, everyone, sorry if the message wasn't clear. Everyone come to the front for the picture.
Do you know anyone who's actually used this? That's likely to be. Well, you know that these are handle really complex tables with 15 columns and the 17 you know, sometimes we have to put cross reference information in text content to actually make sense of that. So it still seems like it's the brute force approach. So when you look at a modeling system that you use, typically have two data extractors. It's just the way that it is. Would you ever consider having one initial typological screen replace one